Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today, Roku has a new home screen coming with some big changes. We'll tell you what's happening. Also, new Roku TVs are on the horizon. HBO Max is coming to new markets. And Disney has a message for people wondering if ESPN and Disney Channel and others are next to be spun off into their own company. These stories and a whole lot more coming up in a quick second. First though, if you're new here, you can always find a link to every story I talk about in the show notes and in the first pinned comment so you can read it for yourself and come up with your own opinion. I'd love to hear from you. If you like what we do here, please consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so they recommend our videos to more people. With that said, let's dive into it. All right, Roku has a new home screen update. Now, overall, the home screen is going to appear fairly similar. What's going to be new is at the top, you probably see it above your current apps, is a row for top picks, recommended content. They're merging that and expanding it to offer more recommendations as they try to drive up viewership. Recently, Roku saw a nice jump in viewership engagement on the Roku channel. And one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the things they credited was the recommendations on their home screen driving viewership through it, and they're testing, expanding that. For now, though, it's just in a beta test. Roku's been slowly rolling this out to a handful of Roku owners, testing out the new user interface for people to test out and allow them to see what is new there. Roku's been making a lot of changes to its home interface recently. For example, they've put video ads on there, even tested briefly, though this seems to have gone away, full screen video ads when you start your Roku. It's been a while since I've heard about those happening. I think that test is currently on pause, not that it won't come back and actually happen. But also pushing more and more recommended content to try to drive up viewership and get people into the Roku guide with it. Now, in that row, you're not just going to find movies, but categories and other content there. Look for Roku to continue to push content recommendations to people. The good news is in the settings under homepage, you can turn those off and just get straight to your apps. I really do like that Roku gives you that option in the settings. So check it out. Big changes coming to the Roku home screen. Look for more video ads to continue. Look for more attempts to push recommended content to drive up viewership, because Roku now makes a majority of its money by ads through things like the Roku channel and subscriptions purchased through Roku or the Roku channel. Speaking of Roku, also Roku is this week rolling out the new 2025 Roku TVs. These are an upgraded version of the Roku Pro series and Select series. Basically, with this, it's a new mid-grade range with it. Not a massive revolutionary change here. We are trying to get a review unit to look at them. I did get to see them briefly at a Roku event in New York back in April. They were nice. They're a nice TV, lay flat design, great blacks, and other contrasts with it. We'll hold off final viewing until I actually get my hands on one and can give you an opinion. I should say final opinion until I can get my hands on it and give you a full tested opinion. We're working on that now, so keep an eye out for more news on the new Roku TVs. But if you want to go and buy them, link in the show notes to find them online for sale right now. All right, recently, a lot of cable networks in our next story have been spun off. Comcast, Warner Bros. Discovery, and Lionsgate have all spun off their cable networks, or at least most of them, into an independent cable TV company. With this, though, Disney has now come out and said, not so fast for us. They still see a potential investment in Disney. And let's be honest, Disney owns some of the most profitable networks, mostly with ESPN, but with a few of their other networks too that are really doing well. So you can understand why Disney would be a little bit hesitant to spin them off. Now, they didn't close the door on the idea that they would never spin off their cable TV networks into an independent company, much like Comcast and Warner Bros. Discovery have. For Comcast and Warner Bros. Discovery, they've decided that any potential benefit from these networks are outweighed by the money losses and other issues that pull down their stock reports. When they do their quarterly reports, people look at their numbers and see great on the studio, maybe even streaming, but then they look at the cable networks and they're like, ooh, that's ugly. By spinning them off into an independent company still owned by the parent company, but reporting separately, they protect their studios and streaming services from potential losses at the TV networks, and from having to report them on their books when it comes to earnings season. Disney, for now, is going to continue to bundle all of it together. Would not be surprised if in the future they follow the trend of other companies. But like I said, Disney still sits on some of the most profitable cable networks out there. With ESPN, you understand why they would want to hold it in-house. I still believe it would not surprise me at all to see some Disney networks shut down, as Disney may pare back on some of the smaller networks that are less profitable now. All right, and a little quick update. That statement came from Bob Iger speaking at CNBC. Link in our show notes if you want to read the full transcript. All right, HBO Max. Well, it's still called Max, but very soon to be called HBO Max, which is returning to form there. Warner Bros. Discovery has announced that in July 2025, it's going to expand to 12 more countries, including Georgia, Armenia, Iceland, Latvia. I apologize, dyslexic moment there. If you want to see the full list, check it out. Quite a few countries there being added. Comes as Warner Bros. Discovery is really seeing its streaming as its future, not just here in the United States, but around the world, and expands out there. Now, Max is already available in a handful of countries around the world, most notably the United States, etc. Now it's coming to 12 more. All right, we talked earlier this week about layoffs happening in the world of television. Well, now Paramount is again laying off a bunch of staff. Several hundred employees are getting laid off at Paramount. Worked out to be about 3.5% of its remaining staff. Remember, they've already laid off quite a few employees over the last couple of years. Now, with this comes as the joint CEOs. Remember, Paramount's being run by a committee of 3 different CEOs right now, as it pins its waits for approval to get its Skydance merger, and then Skydance leadership is going to take over. For now, I've said this before, Paramount doesn't want to really rock the boat pre-merger, so they're not going to shut down anything dramatically, cable networks or some of its smaller streaming services. Instead, they've been cutting staff to try to get by until they can complete the merger. Once the merger happens, I think a lot of the cost cutting is going to come from shutting down a few smaller networks. You know, how many MTV subchannels or BET subchannels do you need? Well, I don't think MTV itself is going away or BET is going away. Wouldn't surprise me to see some of the smaller subchannels under that brand name merge into others, consolidate into streaming and other similar categories. But for now, Paramount joins a growing list. I bet that at this point it's over 2,000 employees in the last couple of years that have been laid off in movie and television studios. All right, we talked a little bit yesterday. I want to give a quick update. We talked yesterday about Warner Bros. Discovery spinning off Comcast, Spectrum, and others into independent companies. Or excuse me, Comcast and Warner Bros. Spinning off. I apologize. Networks like MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, HGTV, and others spun off here. One thing with this I got a lot of questions about was Discovery Plus. Yes, Discovery Plus is being spun off. It will no longer be a joint partnership with Max. It's not shutting down, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of content, how much focus the new company gives to Discovery Plus. Now, not all, but a lot of Discovery Plus content is now available in, well, soon to be HBO Max with it. For now, though, there definitely does seem to be a big push there to separate cable and unprofitable areas, and that may include Discovery Plus with that. If you want to learn more about that, check out the show notes down below, but I wanted to answer a few common questions I got related to Discovery Plus with this spinoff from Warner Bros. Discovery. And in our last story today, it's hard to believe that we're just a couple months away from YouTube TV's launching of NFL Sunday Ticket. Fall football is almost here. Well, we got an update this week from the YouTube TV staff about some details on its NFL Season Pass. If you are a YouTube TV customer, you will be able to do a monthly payment this year, $31.50 a month for NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, with this, it's important to note, yes, you're paying in the off season, but basically instead of paying $300 some bucks up front, you get to divide that bill out across 12 months. Making it a lot more practical for many subscribers with this. Now, if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, so you don't have YouTube TV, but you want to get it through YouTube, you don't need YouTube TV for NFL Sunday Ticket, but it does cost more, $480. If you want Red Zone, that's $522 a month, or you can get it for $40 just for NFL Sunday Ticket a month through YouTube. So if you have Fubo or Hulu Plus Live, you still want Info Sunday Ticket, you can subscribe through YouTube. If you want to see the full breakdown on all the payment options, there's quite a few and some slight changes there and some deals for new customers. Check out our posts in the show notes down below. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Until then, take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.